Hello everybody, welcome to your weekly forecast for Monday, October 4th through Sunday, October 10th. So this week everything is about Libra. Libra, okay? There's four major aspects this week, okay? On Monday, Mercury in Libra trines Jupiter in Aquarius, and this transit actually occurred on September 20th, so now that Mercury's retrograde, it's happening again. So maybe whatever might have happened to you around September 20th is reoccurring again. Whatever. On, let's see here, on the 7th, Venus actually moves into Sagittarius. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra conjuncts Mars in Libra. And on Saturday, October 9th, the Sun in Libra conjuncts Mercury in Libra, and also on this day, Mercury in Libra conjuncts Mars in Libra. So it's Libra everything. So if you know anyone who is a Libra, boy, they're going to be chatting away, whatever, spilling the beans maybe for all we know. Anyway, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my subscribers and those of you who have been supporting and donating to my channel, helping it grow. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you might want to do that right now. Click on the little notification bell there, and you'll be notified each time I upload something. Also, check out Ask Me a Question in the description box below there. There's some of you that aren't interested really in getting your full chart done. Excuse me. I'm ready to sneeze any second now. Anyway, so you may only want to know one thing, okay? So that's what Ask Me a Question is for. But those of you who would like to have your chart done, because what I do here right now is a general reading. So if you wanted something more specific to yourself, you would have to have your personal chart done. So if you would like to check that out, there's a link there to my website, also in the description box. Okay, so, and check out my monthly forecast too. So anyways, I'll get right to it, okay? For Aries. Now, Aries, you know, Libra is your opposite sign. So all this is occurring in your 7th house where you have the sign of Libra. It's directly across from your 1st house of Aries. So, you know, whatever. There's also the new moon here, you know, on the 6th occurs. So all this is happening at the same time. On Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 7th house trines Jupiter transiting in your 11th house of Aquarius. So this, I see, is very good news. Okay, having Jupiter in your 11th house of dreams, hopes, and wishes, friends and associates, where you would normally go to hang out. It's your most sociable house. It's social media. But it's like hanging out with your friends and attending parties. And it's fun. It's having fun. But it's also any kind of organization that you would may belong to. Okay? So, you know, having Jupiter here for as long as it has been, at least one person, new friend or a new person should have come into your life, into your group of friends, or something new, some kind of new addition to whatever you guys do for fun even. But it's usually a person. Okay, so having Mercury in your 7th house of close relationships and partnerships, I would have to say that if this person hasn't entered your life yet, they have up until December of this year, okay, because that's how long Jupiter will still be in this placement. So this could be one of those times when somebody fairly important just walks into your life. And as a friend, they could start out that way anyways, or they could be introduced to you by a friend of a friend, or you could just meet them when you're out somewhere, or if you do belong to any kind of organization, you could meet them there, okay? Excuse me. Also online, socializing online, but it looks also like a friend or someone, even through social media, could bring you good news of some kind, okay? Both of these planets, though, they're more travel planets, okay? Jupiter's long distance, Mercury is more or less local. So you could even be, let's say have an old friend coming back into the picture. Maybe they moved away, and now that they're back, they're like re-entering your life, okay? And remember, this transit already occurred on September 20th. Okay, so if you think back to then, if anything significant happened around that time, this transit is happening again because Mercury is retrograde. Okay, and when it goes direct, it'll probably happen again. Anyways, on Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 7th house conjuncts Mars in Libra in your 7th house. And this is like a pretty bold transit here, I have to say, because the very next day on Saturday, again, the Sun in Libra in your 7th house conjuncts Mercury in Libra in your 7th house. And also on this day, Mercury in Libra in your 7th house conjuncts Mars, also in Libra in your 7th house. So all of these planets, Sun, Mercury, and Mars, are all in your 7th house of close relationships, romantic or business or close friend. This is also the house of competitors and open enemies, anyone who may go out of their way to just get on your nerves or whatever. But the fact is, all of these planets are conjuncting one another. Like this week, it seems. Anyways, I'm sure it'll happen again, but, it's just in a matter of days, like all of these planets are on top of one another. So I would have to say, especially because it's happening around a new moon, you may begin a brand new relationship right now that you bring about yourself, maybe through speaking up or approaching someone that maybe you might not have approached before. Let's say even in business, maybe there's something happening with even a competitor that you feel that maybe the two of you should get together and put your resources together and maybe form some kind of partnership that will make both of you stronger, okay? If it's for romance, a romantic partnership at this time, there could be some kind of changes or whatever that you would like to make, or your partner would like to make, even your business partner. We could go back to that partnership. And this is the time when someone would more than likely try to do something like that, especially around that new moon. A new moon will bring new beginnings. So either you or your partner or close friend is looking for a new start in your relationship with them. Okay, and Mars is involved here. So, it's a pretty could be possibly ego-based conversation that you're having with someone right now, especially with Mercury. Mercury and Mars together brings about a person's ego. What their favorite subject is themselves. Okay, talking about themselves. And a person, whomever, could be pointing out to you all these wonderful things about themselves. Okay? In fact, you could be the one even doing that to whomever. So this is like a really I don't want to say explosive, but it could be. At least it gets done, though. That's the main thing right here, is any kind of conversation that you're having with someone that you're very close to. Okay, this isn't like usually strangers. If it is one of those open enemies or somebody that gets on your nerves, that's a different story. Okay, that you'll just shoot them down right then and there. They won't even think twice about coming at you again. That's how effective these planets are together. Okay, is getting your point across. Because it's Libra, though, I would have to say that it isn't too harsh. They do try to be a little bit more pleasant. But it is your opposite sign, and it's opposing whatever planet you have in Aries, and your rising sign even. So it could make you a little bit more bold than, let's say, another sign would be at this time. Okay, so just think about it. Even if you have to approach someone or say something to someone that they're not going to like, it's hard for you to even say it to them. This would be the time to do that, though. You can kind of smooth it over, but Mars here and Mercury together, and even the Sun, though, too, gives you the ability to kind of do that. Get something off your chest, maybe not offend whomever it is that you're talking to right now. Excuse me, with whatever changes maybe you would like to make. Okay, so for Taurus, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 6th house trines Jupiter transiting in your 10th house of Aquarius. So very nice trine from your 6th house of the workplace and the kind of work that you do and your co-workers and your work schedule to your 10th house of your career and how you're known professionally and personally by reputation. You know, having Jupiter here along with Saturn, even at one point or other, should have brought some kind of promotion in your career or even in your own personal status. If it hasn't happened yet, still have until like December for this to occur, because that's how long Jupiter will still be here. Having Mercury in your 6th house right now, though, is an awful lot of conversations going on here, especially now that Mercury is retrograde. There's a new moon on the 6th this week, so there's something new going on there. Maybe a new work schedule, new client, new way of doing things, new policy or something or other. But you could be put in charge of whatever it is, okay, or given some kind of authority to oversee other people, or maybe just one thing, maybe just a client, or you know, something like that. Okay, even if you don't work at all, you're retired or something like that, there's still something going on in your day-to-day life, because the 6th house is also your daily life, almost like the 3rd house is also your day-to-day life. Okay, so something going on here that puts you in a position of like respect, even if it's just in your own neighborhood or something. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 6th house conjuncts Mars in Libra in your 6th house. And on Saturday, the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your 6th house conjuncts Mercury, also in Libra in your 6th house. And on the very same day, Mercury already being here in Libra conjuncts Mars, already being here, okay, in Libra. So all of these planets, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars, are all in Libra right now, and they're all conjuncting one another. So conjunctions are pretty powerful. You know, these are all these planets acting together, and there's a new moon here on the 6th around the same time. So it's a lot of action going on here in the workplace, I would have to say. Could be people even just suddenly blowing up at one another. Conversations, you know, maybe even like an emergency meeting, you know, being held because maybe some kind of crisis comes up or whatever. I mean, you could actually be thrown into a position where you're in charge because of something that's going on at work right now. The Mercury-Mars conjunction thing, though, a lot of times brings about, you know, a lot of egos trying to all come out at one time. And the workplace is like kind of a bad place for something like this to happen. But a lot of times there's some people there that are just normally aggressive, and so they tend to like get their way all the time because that's just their normal demeanor. Okay, so they could be surprised by, let's say, someone like you speaking up, you know, and saying, no, I don't want it done that way, or I want this also. You want it, I want it too. So, you know, we'll have to see, you know, who decides who gets what or whatever. But I think somebody could be a little bit surprised at your boldness, or the fact that you're like sticking up for yourself and getting things done the way you would like them to be done. Okay, for Gemini, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 5th house trines Jupiter transiting in your 9th house of Aquarius. So very nice trine here between your 5th house of fun and romance, games of any kind, sports, recreation, entertainment, creativity, speculation and gambling, children. This is very active house right now. Very nice trine to your 9th house where you have Jupiter. I would have to say that maybe you have made plans to travel, to do something fun. Because it is the 9th house of long distance travel, it might be something that's kind of far. Could be a trip that you've been planning for a while. Having Jupiter in your 9th house does kind of denote wanting to take that trip of a lifetime, that dream trip, but usually it's to a foreign country or at a distance. Doesn't necessarily have to be, though. There could actually be somebody coming to visit you if you're unable to go, and there could even be like a long distance romance possibly going on here right now. But to me, this looks like good news of some kind. 9th house is also publishing and media. 5th house being creativity. Maybe you have done something or created something, work of art, or written something or other that is getting like the green light or something, or is going to be maybe showcased in the media or online or published or something like that. There's all kinds of possibilities here, but I'd have to say it's good news coming to you. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 5th house conjuncts Mars, also in Libra in your 5th house. And on Saturday, the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your 5th house conjuncts Mercury, also in Libra in your 5th house. And on the very same day, Mercury again, okay, in Libra conjuncts Mars in Libra. Okay, so all of these planets are conjunct one another in your 5th house of, fun and speculation and romance. I'd have to say romance might be on the agenda here. Okay, but whatever it is, you're in the mood to really do something or other. If you are in the mood to gamble, this would be like one of those days, or these 2 days where you would really get that, the itch to do something like that. There's a new moon here on the 6th. While all of this is going on, it's all like within the few days there. Something could be really, going on, let's say like with a romance where you really decide to express your true feelings towards someone or get something off your chest. Mercury and Mars together in conjunction usually brings about the desire to talk about yourself or your good qualities and traits and stuff like that. It's a time where you point out to people, just what you've done that you're proud of yourself for. Okay. Because it's happening in your 5th house, you could be like glowing about your children, going on and on about what wonderful children you are and how proud you are of them. Maybe you've created something again. Maybe you're an artist of some kind, so you could be almost like shoving that down people's throats, Just because, again, there's so many planets here conjuncting one another. It really is kind of like a powerful time in whatever house it's occurring in. And this is that house, the 5th house of fun even. Maybe you are just, dead set on doing something that you had in mind, maybe have never done before. Could be a bit of a daredevil kind of thing that you're really willing to try right now. Okay? For Cancer, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 4th house trines Jupiter, transiting in your 8th house of Aquarius. So all of these planets, this transit actually happened on September 20th previously. So if you can think back to then, maybe whatever occurred around then is coming around now that Mercury is retrograde. So back then, I believe I might have said something like, maybe you're receiving a really nice heirloom for your home. Your 4th house is your home, where you live, the people you live with, your family, your past and childhood, and like your personal life. And 8th house is other people's resources and money. and money coming to you through means other than earning it, like passive money. Okay, so having Jupiter here and Saturn at the same time does open up a lot of possibilities, and this could be one of those times. Maybe you were contacted around September 20th about something that you'll be receiving, and maybe that's actually happening on this day. You know, you're actually receiving whatever it was, money or something, anything actually. But whatever it is, it might be an inheritance, or it could be something for your home, or something just personal that you liked, or that you always wanted, maybe it admired of someone else's, and they've decided to leave it to you. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 4th house conjuncts Mars, also in Libra in your 4th house. And on Saturday, the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your 4th house conjuncts Mercury, also in Libra in your 4th house. And on the very same day, Mercury again in Libra conjuncts Mars, also in Libra, in your 4th house. Okay, around the new moon, too, of the 6th. So all these planets are conjuncting one another in just a few day period, and this is your house of your home and your family. And I'd have to say there's something going on. There's some kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say an argument or fight or something like that, but Mercury conjunct Mars brings about a lot of, brings your ego and even someone else's to the surface, where you really say a lot of things that are very egotistical, rather, you know, whatever. But it could be a family member, could be a roommate, could be anyone that, a relative even, that you may have some kind of a little bit of a confrontation. If not, you know, you're clearing the air because it happens around that new moon, right? And new moons bring new beginnings. So maybe you've finally gotten something off your chest, or maybe whomever it is that you live with, or even a neighbor, or maybe somebody like did something to your property, or, you know, anything of yours, you know, that you just like you had it, and you let them know about it. So, you know, you don't have to, you know, yell and scream or anything, but if it's family, it could turn into something like that. But if it's just getting something off your chest, I think it's going to do everyone actually a world of good. So, for Leo, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 3rd house trines Jupiter, transiting in your 7th house of Aquarius. So, very nice trine. I would have to say, you know, Mercury in your 3rd house of communication. Okay, Mercury is the natural ruler of the 3rd house, and having it here right now means that you're having an awful lot of conversations with people, probably initiating most of them. So I would have to say that's something that's going on here right now with Jupiter in your 7th house of close relationships and partnerships. This transit actually already occurred on September 20th, so if you can think back to anything that might have happened around that time. And this was when Mercury was direct, okay? So it's creating this transit again now that it's in retrograde motion. So maybe you're having a continuation of a conversation that you had with a partner, a romantic partner, business partner, or a close friend, okay? Or maybe you're rehashing that conversation or something that someone said to you. You know, maybe you're thinking about it again, or the subject has come up, you know, or maybe somebody asked you at that time, hey, do you want to do this, you know, whatever's coming up, and you know, I wanted to know if you, I'll buy tickets, or I'll do this or that. So, you know, they could be contacting you, or you them, to see if you still wanted to do whatever, okay? On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 3rd house conjuncts Mars, also in Libra in your 3rd house. And on Saturday, the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your 3rd house conjuncts Mercury, also in Libra in your 3rd house. And on the very same day, that Mercury in Libra conjuncts Mars in Libra in your 3rd house. So there's all this stuff going on in your 3rd house, along with a new moon close enough, okay, on the 6th, so there's really something going down here, you know. Third house is like your area that you live in, your neighborhood, your neighbors, it's your siblings, your cousins, but it's a big communication and travel house, but it's your everyday life though too. It's where you would go throughout the normal course of your day and the people that you would encounter then, okay? So you might be having, I don't know, some kind of a very important discussion with someone. This conjunction of Mercury and Mars together always brings about a conversation where whoever's speaking, they like to speak about themselves. They like to point out, it's the ego planet, okay? Mars is an ego planet, Mercury is the big communicator, right? So you have this combination of these two planets together, and it seems like that person's favorite subject to talk about is themselves, okay? That could be you, or you could be like, you know, in someone's, you know, grasp, and that you just can't get away from them, and they're just going on and on and on about themselves, you know. However, this could be a time where you really do have to do something like that. You have to point out something about yourself, even if it's like to a neighbor saying, you know what, I've lived here for, you know, over 20 years, or I was here long before you were, or, you know, anything like that. This is one of those kind of transits where, in a way, you put people in their place by letting them know that you are responsible for this or that, you know, or you know more than they do, or you've done more, you know, whatever. So just keep in mind that, you know, this kind of conversation could take place at this time. It's also the third house, big communication house, right? Regular email, postal mail, voicemail, text message. So you could even get some kind of really off-the-wall message or mail at this time and just go, what the hell is this all about? You know, or what brought that on, or whatever. Okay, so for Virgo, on Monday, October 4th, whoops, let's see here, Mercury in Libra in your second house, too many papers, okay, in your second house trines Jupiter transiting in your sixth house of Aquarius. So this transit happened already on September 20th, and when Mercury was direct, and now that it's in retrograde motion, it's coming around again. So we're back to possibly, you know, you have Mercury in your second house of income, how you earn your money, and Jupiter in your sixth house of the kind of work that you do and the workplace, your work schedule and everything, you know. So maybe you brought the subject up back then, you know, about money or your work schedule or the work period, you know. So maybe that's coming around. The topic of conversation is going to be there again, you know, where you could check up on, hey, did you look into my raise, you know, or my hours or my schedule or something or other, okay? Even if you don't work at all, or you're, you know, retired or something like that, there is still some something that you're doing or have done in the past that is bringing in income, extra income on top of, let's say, like retirement, something or other. So that's that possibility for whatever to occur again, it's coming back around again on this day. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your second house conjuncts Mars, also in Libra in your second house. And on Saturday the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your second house conjuncts Mercury, also in Libra in your second house. And on the very same day, Mercury in Libra in your second house conjuncts Mars in Libra in your second house. So there's all these conjunctions of the Sun and Mercury and Mars. So it's very active, especially around that new moon is on the 6th. So they're close enough that these are happening. Pretty powerful, actually, conjunctions, especially Mercury and Mars together, and Sun and Mars together. Brings about actual action. Okay, Mars is a very active and energetic and kind of aggressive, planets. So usually though, when Mercury and Mars are together in conjunction, it's people speaking about themselves, having to point out good qualities about themselves, or anything. But sometimes it's almost like you might have to like tell somebody why they should give you more money, or and you feel like that should be pretty obvious. I shouldn't really have to point something like this out, because obviously, I'm like worth it. But this is one of those times where you might feel like you actually really have to go overboard in a way, and maybe go on and on about, all these wonderful things about you. Not just your work, but just, how valuable you truly are, not just as an employee, but as a person. And even if you're self-employed, you might be kind of like the same way with clients, even who act like they're throwing a little bit of work your way, to keep you afloat or something like that. And your attitude is, don't do me any favors. You're lucky. I'm letting you be my client. Okay. So, for Libra, okay, oh boy. Okay, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in your first house in Libra trines Jupiter transiting in Aquarius in your 5th house. Okay, so this transit occurred on September 20th when Mercury was direct in your sign. And now that Mercury's retrograde, it's coming around again. So whatever you might have initiated at that time, around that September 20th, and remember, the 5th house is the house of romance, creativity, children, gambling, speculation, fun of any kind, but entertainment, sports, games. It's the house of fun. So maybe even that, you ask someone, did they want to do whatever, do this or do that, as far as having fun or attending something or other, and maybe like you discussed it with them, and or could even be something like with your child, plans that you were making with your child, or whatever, any kind of plans that you were making to have fun. And then, this comes around again, so maybe you're just like rechecking with that person, or deciding if you still want to do whatever it was, that you had planned on doing. And, it could be anything, but it looks like it's a very good thing, because this is a nice trine. This is a very nice trine. And I would have to say, these are both travel planets, Mercury and Jupiter. So I would have to say maybe you're just going on a very short trip, like an overnighter or a weekender or something like that. Could even be just like a day trip, but it's to do something fun. Okay, on Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 1st house conjuncts Mars, also in Libra in your 1st house. And on Saturday, the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your 1st house conjuncts Mercury, also in Libra in your 1st house. And on that very same day, that Mercury in Libra conjuncts Mars in Libra. All in your 1st house. So you are like really powerful. Like these 2 days, I'd have to say, and there's a new moon on the 6th, which is close enough to these transits, like this, because Mars and Mercury are involved here. Even the Sun really energizes Mars on the 8th there, but all of these planets together in a conjunction just brings about like a big burst of whatever could just shoot right out of your mouth. Even if you weren't planning on saying it, you could just go, once it's out, you could just like go on and on, because you're clearing the air. Okay, the new moon is in your sign. Okay, right? So new moon does bring new beginnings, but there could have been something you've been putting up with for like a really long time. You just can't handle it anymore. And I've been saying through this whole tape already with all of the signs, okay, Mercury and Mars together in conjunction usually brings about someone talking about themselves. Okay, Mars is the ego planet, Mercury is the big communicator. And a lot of times, though, you have to point out to people things about yourself that are wonderful, you know, that it could be anything, you know, for whatever reason you might have to like lay down the law, but you know, it could be that you put up with a lot of stuff and you're putting that out there that you didn't have to. You didn't have to do a lot of things, but you did do them. Okay, so I mean, this doesn't have to end up in an argument. It could, though, very easily with these planets involved. So you might want to keep that in mind. But you know, if you have to have a conversation with someone that's, I don't know, scheduled on this day for some reason or other, maybe that's the day that you're going to be seeing this person, I just like really just watch what I said. Or if there's something you really don't want to say, then maybe you could, I don't know, change the subject or whatever. But I still think it is just going to come bursting out of your mouth. But for Scorpio, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 12th house trines Jupiter transiting in your 4th house of Aquarius. And this transit already occurred on September 20th when Mercury was in direct motion, and now that it's retrograde, it's occurring again. So if you can think back to September 20th and try to remember if anything happened around that time. You know, Mercury is in your 12th house where you have this sign of Libra, so it's kind of hidden right now. This is the house of secrets, behind the scenes actions by you or someone else. The trine is to Jupiter in your 4th house of your family, your home life, where you actually physically live, the people you live with, or even if you live alone. But it's also your past and your childhood. And actually both of these houses, the 12th house is also somewhat the past. Okay, so maybe you set out on, I don't know, doing one of those heritage kind of things, or a DNA thing or whatever, you know, where, or you try to trace your family's roots, or I don't know, and maybe you could find out all kinds of wild stuff, you know. But this is a very nice trine, so I would have to say it's good news, you know, or something is happening behind the scenes in regards to your home or your personal life or your family, something like that, okay? But it's coming around again. Maybe you were inquiring at first around that September 20th, and it's taken all this time for the information that you were trying to get to, you know, for you to receive it. Okay, on Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 12th house conjuncts Mars, also in Libra in your 12th house. And on Saturday, the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your 12th house conjuncts Mercury, also in Libra in your 12th house. And the very same day, Mercury in Libra in your 12th house conjuncts Mars in Libra in your 12th house. So all of this stuff is going on in your 12th house on this day. Okay, so, and it's pretty powerful because Mars is involved. The Sun on top of Mars, and even Mercury on top of Mars, brings about usually a lot of like conversations where Mercury and Mars together does make you feel like you have to defend yourself, or does make you want to talk about yourself and your you know, all the wonderful attributes actually that you have. A lot of times you do have to point these things out to people. All of this is happening though in your house of like secrets and behind the scenes. So I would have to say that maybe you could be, I don't know, discussing someone else in secret. Maybe you are, again, like I said before, trying to find out more about this person, but maybe you're having some kind of secret conversations about someone. Or, you know, it could be many, many things, but usually there's a new moon occurring here too, on the 6th. So it's within so many days of these transits, and should bring about some kind of new beginning. But you could just end up successfully doing something in secret, that helps put you in a more secure place. You know, it's almost like there was like a little bit of a race or something to get this done, where it had to be done by a certain time, or before someone else either got wise to you or decided to do this thing for themselves. You know, it's almost like it's an opportunity of some kind that you really took advantage of, you know, that you deserve, you know, but you had to do it in such a way that you didn't want anyone to know that you were doing this, because then it would give them the idea to go after it too, and then you'd have competition, right? So for Sagittarius, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 11th house trines Jupiter, transiting in Aquarius in your 3rd house. And this transit actually occurred already on September 20th. So when Mercury was in direct motion, and now that it's retrograde, it's occurring again. So if you can think back to that date, maybe something happened around that time. You have Libra on your 11th house of friends and acquaintances, places where you would normally go to hang out, any kind of group or organization that you belong to. It's also the house of dreams, hopes, and wishes. It's your most sociable house. Okay, it's social media and socializing online even. Okay, so very nice trine to your 3rd house of your everyday life, your neighbors, your neighborhood, big communication house. Both of these planets are travel houses. 3rd house is like local travel or short distance travel, like overnight or weekend travel or something like that. So maybe you were making plans around, you know, that September 20th date there to get together, or possibly even travel someplace with your group of friends. And maybe, you know, it was something that was coming up, and this would be the date where maybe you're all, you know, checking with each other again to see if you still want to do it or whatever. But if you can think back to that date and try to remember if anything happened around then, because it's come back again on the 4th, October 4th. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 11th house conjuncts Mars in Libra in your 11th house. And on Saturday the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your 11th house conjuncts Mercury in Libra in your 11th house. And on the very same day, Mercury in Libra, okay, conjuncts Mars in Libra in your 11th house. So all of these planets are in your 11th house. This is very active right now, and there's a new moon on the 6th, so it's all close enough there where new moon does bring new beginnings. But it's pretty powerful with all these conjunctions, because a lot of them are verbal. Mars, being the ego planet, is a lot of times when Mercury and Mars are together, a person feels like talking about their favorite subject, which is usually themselves. You know, it could be you, it could be like one of your friends. You can't just get to shut up. Or maybe you meet someone new at this time and they're just going on and on and on about themselves, and I don't know, trying to impress you, or think that that you're interested even, and maybe you're just being nice, you know, and then listening, but not really even listening. Who knows? This could be a little bit of a spat, though, with a friend possibly, or someone online in social media. A lot of times you do have to point out to people things about yourself that maybe they're unaware of, you know. So it's almost like putting people in their place. Maybe they get a little bit too familiar with you, you know. They don't even know you well enough to be saying stuff. Some of the things that they're saying to you, you know, you're like, what the hell, you know. Where do people get off on being this aggressive towards one another when they're almost like perfect strangers? But that's the way some people are nowadays. So it could be something like that, you know. But there's just an awful lot of action going on right now in your group of friends. Could even be just stupid gossip of some kind, just someone trying to stir up trouble, just because you're not paying enough attention to them, I would have to say. Okay, they're trying to get your attention. So for Capricorn, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 10th house trines Jupiter transiting in your 2nd house of Aquarius. So this transit occurred already on September 20th when Mercury was direct, and now that Mercury is retrograde, it's happening again. This is happening between your 10th house of your career and your 2nd house of income, earned income. So obviously you were talking to somebody, or there was talks in the works, okay, of money, bringing in more money, so maybe you brought the subject up then, and now, maybe you didn't hear any more about it and you're just bringing it up again, or maybe someone is finally getting back to you even about a proposal that you had. And it does have something to do with your career and money. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 10th house conjuncts Mars in Libra in your 10th house. On Saturday, the Sun in Libra in your 10th house conjuncts Mercury in Libra in your 10th house. And on the very same day, that Mercury in Libra, okay, conjuncts Mars in Libra. All of this is going on in your 10th house of your career, how you're known by reputation, professionally and personally. But this is your most public house, okay? This is being out in public somewhere, and with all of these transits going on right now, especially with the Sun being here, you are kind of like the center of attention because you're very visible right now. If you're a celebrity, this is your time to really shine. You're really getting an awful lot of attention, but even if you're not a celebrity, you're still getting attention from some place or other, even if it's just like your friends or family, neighbors, anybody. They're just paying a little bit more attention to you right now. So if you are, especially if you do any kind of public speaking, you should really keep an eye, or be careful of whatever it is that you say right now publicly. The same goes for posts that you make, like in social media, or even anything that you might let's say like in a company email, that you're sending it to, not just, I don't know, everyone even, you have to come off like you're not so curt, not so abrasive maybe even. But there's a new moon here at the same time, or on the 6th, so it's close enough to these conjunctions, which are pretty powerful all at the same time, okay? So, something could happen. This is just a scenario. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen, but you and a higher up could kind of like get into it, okay? In fact, they could feel threatened by you in some way, because maybe they think you're after their position, but maybe you're already thought of for their position and they're on their way out, but they don't know that yet. But it could be like becoming apparent to them, and so they might cause a little bit of a scene even in public. In fact, anyone could possibly do this with you at this time, so just keep that in mind. Okay, but back to the new moon, bringing new beginnings, so it clears the air. Everything's out in the open now. Nobody has to hold back or whatever, so it's actually a good thing, even though it might not seem that way at the time. Okay, for Aquarius, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 9th house trines Jupiter transiting in your 1st house of Aquarius. So this transit actually occurred on September 20th. It's coming around again now that Mercury is retrograde. So if you can think back to what might have occurred around that time, your 9th house is where you have the sign of Libra. Very big communication and travel house. Jupiter is the big travel planet, and it's in your 1st house right now. Maybe you are having a long distance relationship with someone. could be someone who actually lives in another country. There could be even some kind of arrangements that you were making to travel. And they began around that September 20th date, and now it's coming around again. So maybe someone's double checking to see if you still wanted to do something or other. It's also like a class, you know. Ninth house is higher learning, or learning anything, you know. Somebody, even just somebody showing you how to do something is also learning. Okay, so maybe you wanted to attend some kind of class, or you wanted someone to teach you something, but they were busy and they couldn't at that time. Well, now they may be, you know, calling you saying, hey, I have some time. Do you want to get together and I'll teach you whatever. Okay. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your ninth house conjuncts Mars also in Libra in your ninth house. And on Saturday, the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your ninth house conjuncts Mercury also in Libra in your ninth house. And on the very same day, that Mercury in Libra conjuncts Mars in Libra. So all of this stuff is going on in your ninth house. Okay, so ninth house is many, many things, but with these planets together brings about a lot of bold action, kind of, but a lot of it's verbal though too. Okay, so ninth house is your house of your philosophy on life, your spiritual and religious beliefs, your opinions, even your political views. You know, it's taboo subjects even. But it's your background and your cultural background and how it could be different from someone else's, and sometimes you don't like always see eye to eye, or maybe even your educational background. You know, maybe you have more knowledge than someone else, and whomever that you may be having a conversation with or a discussion with, you don't feel that they know enough to even maybe hold their own when they're talking to you. So, or somebody could actually be treating you that way, okay? Because, see, Mars is involved here and Mercury. And when these two planets get together, they bring about a boastful kind of, like a little bit of a verbal confrontation. You know, people tend to want to speak about or talk about themselves, you know, and their achievements or the wonderful things about them. And maybe you might actually have to do something like that. Okay, there's a new moon on the 6th, like very close to all of this. So it's bringing a new beginning in some way or other. So maybe you might have to do something like clear the air with like in-laws or somebody that you can't get away from, that you are always like with or them. Not constant, but I mean their families, you can't get away from them. But it could be family through marriage, or somebody you work with, or just someone you're in contact with that you know, you might not even have anything in common with this person. Okay, and now is when, instead of like trying to get along with them or whatever, now is when you're like, nah, I'm tired of doing this. I've been nice about this the whole time. You know, they're walking all over me. And you know, you just kind of put people in their place if it's necessary, if it's needed. So it's clearing the air, actually. So for Pisces, on Monday, October 4th, Mercury in Libra in your 8th house trines Jupiter transiting in your 12th house of Aquarius. So this transit occurred on September 20th, okay, and now that Mercury is retrograde, it's occurring again. So your 8th house, where you have Libra, is the house of other people's resources and money, but it's the house of inheritances, legacies, settlements of any kind, legal, insurance settlements, payouts, but it's passive money or objects or you know, even equipment of some kind coming to you, okay? So maybe you even learned about something like this that you're supposed to receive, like around that September 20th date, okay? Maybe you applied even for a loan, or secretly asked someone if you could borrow money or borrow this or that. And now that this is coming around again, maybe they have all of that together to give to you. You know, maybe they said, yes, you know, I'll help you do this or that, but I can't do that right now. So now that this transit is around again, maybe this is when you're actually on the receiving end of whatever it is that you might have asked for. On Friday, October 8th, the Sun in Libra in your 8th house conjuncts Mars, also in Libra in your 8th house. And on Saturday the 9th, the Sun in Libra in your 8th house conjuncts Mercury in Libra in your 8th house. And on the very same day, Mercury in Libra conjuncts Mars in Libra. All of this stuff is going on in your 8th house. If I were you, okay, now also this is very near the new moon of the 6th. So these transits together in conjunction are very powerful. Okay, Mercury and Mars conjunct usually means someone wanting to talk about themselves. Sometimes, usually pointing out some of their achievements or wonderful traits about them. Usually, it's. I would have to say, if it's you, you may have, you know, have to do this in order to convince someone that you're worthy or worth it. You know, as far as to be on the receiving end of something, you know, the 8th house again it's a money house. It's money. Okay, if I were you, I would play the lottery on this day. You know, these 2 days, Friday, Saturday, just because there's all these powerful conjunctions, even the Sun to Mars. You know, really just, I think Mars and the Sun are like the biggest physical kind of things, and Mercury kind of ticks it off in a way. Mercury's a timer even in astrology. So maybe there was something really that you were waiting for, again, to receive, you know, an inheritance of some kind of legacy, refund, you know, like I said, legal settlement, insurance settlement, just money. Money, or this is all also jointly held property and jointly held debt. But I'd have to say, if you own anything with someone else, maybe it's finally going to, you know, be resolved. One of you will buy the other one out, or maybe they'll just give you their share and say, I don't want it anyway, and finally turn it over to you. Okay, so it's a pretty big deal. You know, but if I were you, like I said, I'd play the lottery on those days. So I hope everyone enjoyed their astrological forecast for this week. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell. Check out my Ask Me a Question in the description box below there. If you would like to have your personal chart done, remember this is just a general reading. So if you wanted something more specific to you, you'd have to have your chart done. And there's a link there to my website, so you could check that out. And check out my monthly forecasts. Okay, I'll see you next week. Goodbye.